Welcome to Eat Sleep Rugby. We are coming to you from my work spot in Maidenhead, and this is the first episode. We are very, very lucky to be joined by World Cup winner, face of women's sport, and face of current ITV, I suppose, alongside David Flatman, Maggie Alphonsi. Maggie, great to have you on. Thank you so much for joining us and taking a little bit of time out from moving house.
Moving house,
so I've been told.
From Wembley all the way to lovely High Wycombe, so it's a bit of a change from the city to. I think I'd say this is a country. You'd say smaller country.
I'd say countryside-ish.
Bit
Bit more greenery. Bit more greenery.
But I'm loving it. It's nice to be out here.
Yeah. And how long? But what sort of prompted the move? Is it just?
Just because it's quite busy.
Space.
Yeah. So I've always been a London girl. I've always been a North London girl, really.
Yeah.
And I guess football in Wembley is huge, so it's getting very, very busy in that area. And I think it gets to the point where you go, Joe, I'm happy just to drive up and down in a further sort of country, picturesque sort of environment.
Yeah.
So decided to up sticks and move out to High Wycombe. Love to. I just love country. I just love to be out in a bit of space. Where I've got 2 dogs as well, so they need lots of field space really, and it's worked out quite well so far.
So far, so good.
Yeah.
So it's quite odd because a lot of people, I've got a lot of friends obviously from London, and they're like, I'm never leaving. Like, what do you want to live in the countryside for? But you're almost sort of. You're wearing a bit of tweed, you the patches. A geography teacher, right?
That's my next occupation.
That's your next occupation. Okay. You're moving on to geography teacher. Good. So let's get back to where it all began for you, like rugby, getting into the sport. Everything really. Give us the full rundown.
So I guess the way I got into sport was very different. So I guess it was through school.
Yeah.
At school, I was quite a bad child, used to muck around a lot, and my PE teacher, a lady called Lisa Burgess, I had a few PE teachers actually who all just liked rugby, but she was one of the ones who played for the Welsh women's rugby side. She was the captain at the time.
Right.
And
this was school in London?
Yeah,
okay.
So it was Salisbury School, it's now changed. I think it's been through various different administrations, and I think it's now an academy. But so she said, look, do you know what, I think it'd be really good for you to go try rugby out, and because in North London it wasn't very popular, so she said go to your local rugby club, and for me it was Saracens. Saracens Amateurs, and she said just
that the old club?
Yeah, Bramley Road.
That's it.
Where obviously that was the bad day when all the legends were playing.
Yeah.
So I went down there, didn't know a large amount about it, and at the time I think Saracens men were still sort of like training there. They weren't playing there but training there. Didn't know any of the guys whatsoever. So I went down there, picked up the rugby ball, made one little break and a bit of side steps, made a tackle, and similar to yourself when you first started playing, loved it, really loved it, and I just thought I have to continue with this. It took me a while to sort of convince other people that this sport is a good sport, because I loved football as well at the time. Right. So Arsenal was my team. I really loved Arsenal.
Trying to avoid that.
Yeah, I moved away from the oval ball, but I really kind of just got into just doing a sport where I enjoyed the freedom. So I found rugby, and I became so much more disciplined at school. Because at school I really was sort of going off the rails, almost got kicked out. My mum was getting to the point where she didn't really know what to do with me. Single parent family as well. And rugby kind of like was my second sort of parent. Kind of helped me out.
Home away from home in some respects.
Yeah, it gave me structure. I had lots of older people around me who also made sure that I, stuck to rules, and there was a culture which you had to sort of fall within in the rugby setting, and I just really enjoyed it. And then that sort of started to set my goals. I was like, right, I want to represent Saracens first team, so work to try and achieve that. And then I was like, right, I want to represent my regional, then divisional, and then county, and all of that. And I gradually started to get those opportunities, and I thought, wow, I could actually maybe try and make it to England. At the age of 19 years old, got my first call up by the England coach, and went out to Canada, represented England, scored my first try. Just I didn't think I'd ever make it. I started at the age of 13, 14, 5-6 years of it, and then 19.
And it's quite an organic path by the sounds of it as well, because it's not like, and this is one of the things that we're here to talk about today is women's sport, but it's not like, for me growing up, it was very much, well, you can go on to play for England, and you can go and actually, when game went professional in 1995, everyone's being paid to do it. So for you, that took a lot of dedication, and I suppose my question with that leading into really is, how did you support yourself through that? Because I know you well, and I know a lot of the girls well, but a lot of the girls have been teachers, police officers, lecturers, all sorts of jobs. Obviously, when somebody who used to vie for the open side jersey with all the time as a plumber. It's an interesting story of how you guided yourself through that and keep yourself disciplined as well.
Yeah, it was really hard. I mean, single parent family. I grew up in a council estate, so I didn't have a large amount of money, and I never wanted to ever ask my mother for any money either. So I used to do other bits and bobs. So I remember my first real job was like a paper round, and it was one of the morning ones. So it was getting up 6 a.m. delivering papers in areas which I really didn't want to deliver papers, but I was like, I need to make sure I've got some cash in my pocket to pay for travelling to some of those rugby grounds, because none of the rugby grounds were in North London. They were all, as you know, out in the country, up north. So you'd have to do a lot of driving, and my mum didn't drive, so I used to sort of get a lift with a friend, help pay for petrol. So that was always hard. And then I remember working at McDonald's. I did that a lot. Didn't eat any of the food, but I made sure I
that's a lie.
I had a few chips every now and again. But I worked at McDonald's. I had to make some cash, and that's what really sort of funded me in my early stages of rugby. And then when I fully made it to England team, I worked for the RFU as a community coach, and then I worked my way up to divisional coach. And then I got a job working for a big charity called the Youth Sport Trust, where I was a manager there. So I've always worked whilst playing, and it was hard, I can't lie to you, because trying to balance up both, trying to be the best athlete that you can be, it's like trying to be the best that you can be, trying to eat well, trying to train well, and sleep as well, and then trying to work was hard. And I don't know about you, but one thing I found when I, through playing a lot and then training a lot, then trying to work, I would, like at 10 a.m, I'd be at my desk trying to do some work on my laptop, and I'd be fast asleep because we'd just done a hard session in the morning, and normally we'd have a break, wouldn't you?
Well, that was one of the things that always astounded me, was I'd quite often see girls like yourself and Michaela Stanford, and we go back some time now, but when we would come into Twickenham, quite often you girls would be leaving and you'd be off to work, and I personally used to always feel a bit guilty because it was, I didn't see that it was fair in some respects that you guys weren't given the same opportunities that we were, and it almost made the accolades that you guys went on to achieve in 2014. Obviously you were given a small opportunity there to be professional for a small period of time, but realistically that whole years preceding going into that, you were mixing everything you could to make it and be the best as you could, and rightly so. England women are now one of the best teams in the world because of that. I mean, do you think that has paid and made a difference to it? I know some of the girls have found the transition hard, but into being full-time, but still I think it makes, from what you're saying, it's better athlete, makes you appreciate it more. I mean,
I agree with you.
You lived it, so you know.
I don't know, being able to have the opportunity and not think about work and just go Monday to Friday, or whatever the contracts would be, Monday to Friday, just thinking about, I've got to get my body in the right condition, I've got to make sure I get this amount of rest, I've got to eat this right food. I mean, being able to just concentrate 100% on your sport and being the best athlete is such an amazing feeling. Transitioning from full-time work and then going into full-time rugby, that is hard because you can't get your head around the fact that I haven't got something else to think about. And you almost feel like when you've got downtime, you think I should be doing something else to do with work. That's what I used to do. So whenever we was in camp and we had downtime, I'd get back on my laptop, answer all those emails which I haven't got back to, and if I've got projects to lead, I have to sort of switch off from rugby. That was hard. I mean, it is nice to have other things to think about, definitely, especially if you pick up an injury, it's nice to take yourself away from it, but at the same time, it was really hard to switch on, switch off.
And if you are injured as well, was work always quite supportive for you in that?
Work was great, because work almost allowed me to go back into work mode and not think about the rugby. But because when you're injured, it's like when you're injured, your mind is on your injury. It's always on your injury. You're like, can I do this with my knee or my arm or my leg?
What different can I do today?
And actually going to work almost took myself away from that. That was nice. And actually my job, when I worked for the Youth Sport Trust in particular, they were really good about just if you need to sort of like go to the physio at this time, go to physio. So it's ensuring that you have that balance. And I know a lot of the players in the England team and in the jobs that they've come from, I know they've gone into contracts right now, but we're very sympathetic and allow them to have a bit more time. I mean, my Packer especially, you know, the plumber's got...
She's free that.
She's like, you get the cover everywhere.
Yeah, she parks everywhere as well. It's just like on a curb with a dog yapping in it. Like, come on.
But it works right. It does help if you've got sympathetic employers. I mean, that's the toughest thing for a lot of us athletes, is finding an employer who's going... You almost let them know at the start, play for the England rugby team, or you put it in your CV, and generally that almost is a good setup. People go, we want someone like you, determined, you're committed. But at the same time, you always have to go, look, I'm going to be away in camp a couple of times in that month. And you do tend to, well, at the time when I was playing, I used annual leave a lot. And luckily, my employers were very, very good. We'll give you this amount of annual leave, but you've just got to overtime yourself in another area.
Manage your time.
So
which, I suppose, you know, we've got plenty of other things we want to get onto, but that is actually, how do you think those girls that are now full-time, so obviously England has been full-time this year, they had a bit with the Sevens previously, how do you think those girls going from that environment, where actually you're almost more professional than you are if you're professional, really, because of having to make sure you get your work-life balance correct, get enough sleep, not go out, and you know, you really sort of make sure your diet's right, so you're not dipping off during the day, you're not losing muscle wastage, all these sort of important factors that you need as a professional sportswoman. How do you think they've now adapted becoming full-time athletes? Do you think it's been hard because of the amount of spare time, or do you think because they've taken, now the jobs have gone, it's been able for them to flourish and become better athletes for it?
So I think those who've been part of the Sevens circuit would have been used to it, because they've been full-time since effectively 2014. So they've got used to that experience. The 15s players went fully full-time as of January, so they had that experience during the Six Nations and leading up to obviously the World Cup. I think the transition for a lot of them, not so much Sevens, because Sevens would have been used to it now. 15s would have been quite interesting, because those who did the last World Cup, we went sort of full-time a good few months before the start of the
3 months.
And actually that worked out well. So players would be used to knowing that there's camps, and over the camp period we've got to do this and this. So the transition would have been fine. I think it would have been a little bit challenging for all those players to go, wow, now as of January, we are in this fully, and my mind around work is completely not there now. So I think it would have been a little bit difficult, but I imagine for a lot of those players and athletes, they would have just got on with it. I think what's going to be interesting is post that World Cup, as you know, after the big tournament, whether you win or lose, it's a really strange feeling, because some of those players are going to continue on with their full-time contract, and then some of them now will go back to work, and that's
some are going to retire as well.
Some
There's
retire,
a few of those girls, and you know, that will be thinking, well, next stage of life rather than next stage of rugby career.